Good morning. It's Wisdom Wednesday, and welcome to Walking Through Glass, the podcast, with your host, Dr. Dina C. Brown. Good morning. I'll tell you that I am so blessed to be able to get up this morning, but I will say that this morning's episode may be a tad bit different, and I decided to entitle it, since we're talking about truth this week, the angry truth, right? And so this might be a little bit different than our other episodes, but by all means, it's my truth, and I'm going to be authentic and walk in it. And I invite you to share with me, because it's not about being angry. It's about making the shift to not allow anger to control your next steps, your next season and situation. So this morning has already, started out to be a very interesting morning. I'll just use that verbiage to describe it. But again, this morning, unlike other mornings, I decided to make some shifts intentionally about how I was going to respond instead of react, especially when there are triggers, right? We all know a little bit about triggers. So my current situation, and this is very real and raw because it's just happened, is that I volunteer. Okay, note the word volunteer. I volunteer for an organization and was asked to work on a particular project. And the information has come in bits and pieces at times. And I have a very limited time and a very limited window when I can actually work on whatever it is for the project. It's an organization I believe in, an organization that I love. However, I have a very limited window. And what I've noted is that other members of the team, when their time is stretched or they have other commitments, they're really quick to say they didn't get around to completing A, B, C, or D, or it's behind. And then they share, because, I had to work, or I had some outside influences where my time was restricted, so therefore I couldn't work on, you fill in the blank with that particular project. So I said, okay, I understand that, because I understand that life actually happens. However, I begin to note when that individual gets into that pressure point and time is of the essence, then they expect you to stop, drop, and execute, because we're in a state of crisis or a state of emergency. Now, mind you that it is their particular organization. It's their particular project, and you are support. I'm a member of the team, etc. And I take that role very seriously about how I can actually augment and bring forth my skills to the team. However, I do have other commitments. So the recent situation, I was working on the project. I got the information late. Now, I already have some other things on my task list, on my agenda to do. So now that it's outside my normal window to work on the project, I got to try to fit it in. And at this point, which also includes a little bit less sleep. And remember, I'm on this complete total self-care journey. So trying to get my rest, cutting things off, and saying no. However, I understand the sense of urgency at this particular point. So this is an exception to that intermittent rule. Well, I got the information. I'm going through the information. I'm updating, with this particular case, an email list from a spreadsheet that I was working with another team member on. And that was part of the last conversation that I heard. And I missed it. Now, again, I completely missed it by getting a new list of here's exactly who I want to be invited to this particular event. I somehow brain farted completely, because I was working off the spreadsheet because I was working in advance and putting things together. Now, the list just came 2 nights ago, but I had already been prepping the information because, again, I know my time is restrained. So sent out the email blast, took care of that particular issue, and so then I get a call. In regards to the list, because I keep hearing reference to names that I didn't have included. And so when we started to engage in a conversation this morning, which is why I said the angry truth, I had to bring it down, is that it was, wait a minute, you sent out to the wrong people. How are you going to get those people off? Because it's only these people that should be actually invited. And there might be a few people that's an overage, so to speak, but it's definitely not a grand overage of individuals that are actually, allowed to come. Well, they're like, well, wait a minute. I sent you a list. I said, yes, but we also are working off of a database of current invitees. And so the numbers were, very similar. The names are very similar. So there might be a few people that are not part of it, but there are people that should have been invited. Why? Because they're included in the categories. Well, that's the minutia of the story. The real meat and potatoes of this and this new space and truth that I'm in is that I don't trigger the same, and I don't respond the same, or actually I don't react, because now I actually respond. So the individual's kind of getting upset, hyperventilating. Oh my gosh, what are we going to do? It's going to be a problem. We're not going to have space. And I said, listen, I'll take care of it. I'll go look at it. I'll figure out a way to block the people that shouldn't be invited, or send them a message and say, my apologies that you were, mistakenly. I said, I'll take care of it. I'll handle it. And I said, I'll cross-reference the list you wanted me to use with the one that I have, but I believe many of the names and the people are the same. I said, so I'll just, mediate whatever is the disparity between the two. And so this is where the angry truth comes out. So I don't know if you've been in that situation before, is that you're doing everything in your power. You're doing everything. Number one, you're tired because you went to bed 3 hours past your bedtime because you were working on updating this project that you got kind of at the last minute. Okay? And you had your own projects, and you have work, and you're a mom, and you see what I mean? All that other stuff in there. So I've been really spending time trying to work through that. And so I'm feeling myself in a stretch space, and I've just begun to refuel my cup, but I'm not full yet, you see. And that's why it's so key, self-care is so key, is that when we're filling our cup, on the road to the filling it up, then sometimes there's other drains in there, okay? And those distractions, which often come in triggers and people doing or saying or interacting with you in a manner that is not acceptable to you, that will sap almost everything that you've been building up. So I'm learning how to not allow that to happen, because I need to be, and I want to be, and everything in me yearns to be in that state of peace. And I know that distractions are going to come. However, how I handle them is my choice. So here's what I did. Here's what I said. And as they were getting upset, I said, don't worry, I will take care of it. We'll do what we can, because right now we can't go back and change that, but I'll see what I can do, make effort. So their next response is where Sister Girl almost lost it, okay? It was like, well, this actually has to be done right now. Oh, no, it will not. And so I can feel the neck hairs just kind of rise on my back. Because at that point, I had it, okay? I had it because I'm not going to panic. We'll work on trying to resolve it, and we'll do what we can to resolve it, and then whatever's next is whatever's next. That's just the end of the story. And I understand the venue has limited space, and we're restricted to that limited space, and so on and so forth. I got that part. I said, it's still a few weeks away. There's ways to kind of to remedy that. Now, when she said, oh, this has to happen right now, as I am getting dressed, getting to walk out into my investor job, meaning the job that is paying me, I said, oh, no, I will not be doing that right now. I'm getting ready to take care of something. I'm getting ready to walk into work. I'm sorry, that's not going to happen right now. Well, it's not going to happen right now. The old me would have started stressing, okay? The old me would have been trying to go, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? Let me go. And then the new me, this space, because again, I told you my cup is half full now. It ain't totally empty. I was able to say, no, that's not going to happen right now. That's not even an option if you want me to do it. Now, if you want to do it, you're welcome to do it. I said, here's what I did. I don't think because again, I didn't react. I was actually responding. It allowed me to use my wits, my reason, and my witticism, okay, to share and clarify some things. So what I did, in a very clear manner, I said, no, it's not as bad as you think, because the list that I had, I used the volunteers, okay, which were going to be included. Yes. I used the sponsors. Yes. And I said there was only a small breach of people. Might have been some people that partner with us from the school. Well, they're not going to be invited. Okay, fine. Those are the only people that are not maybe part of your original list. But I got the sponsors, but I'll look at the additional people, and I'll add them in sometime today. Now, the fact that it's a few weeks away and everything is just getting settled, that was not it's part of my problem, so to speak, but it was not my doing. And no longer do I feel in this season to jump because somebody else started turning a rope. Okay? So I have learned to begin to deal with that angry truth. Because did I trigger? Yeah, I did. The truth was, I was 38 hot for a second. And I just said, let me bring it down. And truth be told, I still might be a little bit irritated. And I was irritated myself because I just said, you know what? I said, I'm sorry. Yeah, I made a mistake. There was nothing else for me to say after that. I said, yep, I made the mistake. I did not try to say, oh my gosh, oh my this. I said I was working off the list with me and the event coordinator. I did it. I made a mistake. But you know what was really interesting that I didn't do as I reflect and share with you and learning to rise to a new level of consciousness about who I am and how I show up? I didn't apologize. I didn't say, oh, I'm so sorry, I'm going to fix it. Because for me, this is the Dina thing, is that oftentimes when I start to apologize, that sense of shame and guilt and self-incrimination begins to show up. And to combat that, I've learned to deal with the issue and address it differently. I may feel apologetic in nature that I didn't mean for this to happen, which I posted the other day, and I'll say it again, it's so apropos today, is that what I did, you might have the facts about what I did, but who I am and why I did it, that is something you don't know, okay? Nor can you define for me. So when I thought about that, and I said, okay, what reasoning? So I started doing really quick, this little snap processing piece. I started saying to myself, okay, where did I get this from? Was I just totally losing it, distracted, and, all of that? And I said, oh, because we were working on the spreadsheet. The spreadsheet actually had our current year information. I got it from our current year event planner. And so that allowed me to respond differently instead of reacting to what was happening in the trigger. And I can hear a little bit of the panic and a little of the stress, from the other individual. And I understand that. I acknowledge that, but I won't own it, and I will not carry their monkey on my back. So what I will do is that I will remediate it. I will fix it, and I'll work on it. I'll do that today. But I wasn't getting ready to stop, drop, and roll over or start jumping because you started turning the rope. And that part begins to help me deal with my angry truth. And I learned something new about myself today with that. I learned that I am truly the master of my mindset and how I'm going to trigger and respond to people. Is that people can poke, but it takes you and your vocal cords to say, ouch. So, I feel very good. I still feel very like, oh my goodness, my bad. And I said, I know why it happened. Why? It happened that I missed the other message. Why? Because I was operating in a hurry, and I was tired, and I had a couple of things on there, and this was all coming in crunch time. So my next level up piece is to start really clearly monitoring my time and assessing those action bubbles and being more conscientious about how I'm using my time and when I choose to gift it. Whether it's gifted in dinner, entertainment, opportunities with people, or even volunteerism, and even for myself in building a true culture of self-care so that I can truly love myself on purpose with purpose every day. So, that is my little bit of angry truth for today. And the key takeaway in all things that I love to share with you on Walking Through Glass, the podcast, is that it's truly a journey and we have to embrace it. And there's going to be trials and tribulations and things that trip us up. But we don't have to allow that to get in the way of our excellence. We don't have to allow that to circumnavigate, what our purpose is. And I'm so excited to be growing in this space. And I'm so excited to be sharing that with you. And your daily dose of Dr. Vitamin D today is literally pure, raw, uncut sunshine. Because if I can learn, and if you understood who I used to be, if you understand that if I can learn not to react and I can respond, and then also not beat myself up because I like to get things done right, especially when I'm doing something for someone else, you will know that I have really grown in this space. And I would love to help and support you do the same. So please continue to listen to Walking Through Glass, the podcast. Share with your friends, your neighbors, your cousins. We are available on iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Google Music Play, Stitcher, Spotify, coming soon to iHeart Radio, and of course our host, Podbean. I truly, truly, truly appreciate you listening. I really would love for you to share. My goal is to hit 1,000 downloads by the end of June, so a couple weeks to go, and in July to double that, okay? So to double that, and I can only do that with your help. So thank you for listening. This was your daily dose of Dr. Vitamin D. I hope you have a phenomenal Wednesday on this, what I call Wisdom Wednesday, and realize don't let the angry truth get you. Learn to respond instead of react, and you'll see that your stress levels go down and you can continue to have a fabulous day. So bye-bye for now. Look forward to having you listen tomorrow on Walking Through Glass, the podcast. This was your daily dose of Dr. Vitamin D. Bye-bye.